Hi friends, so in this video we are going to learn about how we can insert a node at the beginning of a circular singly linked list. So for a circular singly linked list, we have this kind of nodes and we have to insert somewhere at the beginning of a linked list, but it would be simple, but is a little bit trickier here because in a single circular linked list, the last node is always pointing up to the first node. So there is a link between the last node and the first node. Although we have the head pointer for the first node, there is one more link pointing to the first node, and that is the last node. Okay, so if this is a diagram of a circular singly linked list, and let's say we have to insert a new node here somewhere. So we need to update this link, the connection in this last node also, so that the last node now points to the newly created node. Okay, so this last node should point to this newly created node, and this node has a link to the first node. Okay, and the head points to this newly created node. So we can do this via a function. So let's start writing out a function to insert a new node at the begin. Okay, and of course we are passing on to the node pointer head so that we can traverse up to the linked list. But before that, I would like to tell you that for inserting the new node, we need to traverse up to this last node so that we can update the pointer at the last node. Okay, since we have to update the pointer here, so we need to traverse down till we are getting the next of the node as the head. Okay, so this is a requirement. So let's begin with. Okay, so we are going to take one pointer node for traversing down to the last node, and another pointer for allocating the memories allocation for the newly created node. So we are going to create a new node like temp equal to node pointer malloc size of node. Okay, and in the initially in the next of temp we are placing null, and for the data we are trying to take the data from the user. So enter data element, and then we have the scanf. So we are taking the data inside the temp. Now we need to check whether the list is empty or full. So for that we can check if head equal to null. Definitely then we need to create this node, and there will be only one node. So head equal to temp, head will be pointing to temp, and since there is only one node here in the linked list, so let's say we have taken this data as 50, and this is null as we have already said. But since this is a sig and this is our head, which points to this node, let's say it is at location 500, and we know that this is a circular linked list, so this node should point to the very first node. So in the next of this node we need to update the head so that it appears like a, although it doesn't matter, but since we are making a new node in the singly linked list, it should point to the beginning of the node. Like since this is the only first and the last node, so if it is at a last node, then this should point to the first node, that is this node itself. Okay, so we can write it as next of head equal to temp. Okay, so inside the head we are passing this temp address, and the next of head is not equal to null, it is equal to temp only. Okay, so this way we can create if there are no node existing in the circular linked list. Else, if let's suppose there is some node, then definitely we need to update traverse till we are getting the last node. So we have to traverse, so we need the q to point to the head first. Okay, and now q is pointing to the head, and we need to check while the next of q not equal to null. So we are traversing till here, right? We are checking till the next of q not equal to head. So when it will find that the next of q is equal to head, it will stop here. Okay, so now we are going to increment the q as next of q. Okay, and that's all. And now after we have identified, we have reached the last node, so there we need to update the pointer. Definitely then here this pointer 100 should be updated with the temp value. Okay, so and since this points to the head, so the head should be updated also with the temp value. Okay, so we will update this as in the next of q we are going to update the temp, and in the temp next we are going to update the head, and then we are going to point the head to temp. So three updates need to be done here, and so that the temp next points to the initial first node. Okay, now one thing I would like to illustrate here, why I did this statement here. Okay, this we did so that if it is the first node, then definitely we are going to have here null. There's no need of pointing back. But since this is a circular linked list, and we can identify a circular linked list if the last node contains the address of the first, because here we are checking while next of q not equal to, sorry, it's not null, actually it is head. Okay, so we are checking here that the next of q not equal to head. Okay, we are not checking for the null. That is why we need to update the next as the head here, right? Because if it is the only node and next we are going to insert one more node, then we need to traverse and we need to check that if the next of this node contains the head. If it is so, then of course this is our first and last node, and therefore we can do the update here as well only. Okay, so this way this is an important statement here which was not present in the single linked list. Okay, and then the updates that we need to do is specific to the circular single linked list. Okay, so this is important. And of course, the statement we need not to forget that we are checking that while q not equal to head. Okay, it's not null, it is head. So we are tracking for the head because we know that the last node in the single circular linked list contains the head. That is reference to the very first node. Okay, so that's it for inserting the node at the beginning of a circular linked list. Next, we will see how we can insert a node at the end of the linked list. Please note that when we are going to insert any node at a particular position of the linked list, it will be similar to the insertion at the singly linked list. Okay, there is no such kind of, only the changes will happen at the first and last node. Okay, that's it for this lecture. Thanks. Bye.